This week on Fish Ed, Jon reveals a fast-paced way to intercept walleye cruising overlooked highways, leading from the spawning grounds to summertime hotspots.
There's one. Got him. Feels like a pretty good one. This is what's really neat about what we're fishing here too, is that what's coming out of these bays, what's moving out after the spawn is every different size fish. You're gonna get some females come out. Most of the females bail a little earlier, but there's still gonna be some coming out. And there's still gonna be some lingering on this exit stuff. And then there's gonna be a whole ton of male eater size fish that are coming out as well. Let's get everything out of the way here. This feels like a pretty decent fish. But that's one of the neatest things about fishing an area. He's not as big as I thought. He's just a really nice eater size fish though. It's the other thing, man, in this cool water in the spring, these fish, they just fight so hard. They'll sometimes fool you and make you think they're bigger than they are. Come here, buddy. Got him. Another good eater fish. Look at that. That's awesome. But you know, this type of bite right here, this is fun because it's consistent in the spring. Fish like that one right there, another one of those males railing out of this area, that spawning area, but it's consistent. You know these fish have got to exit, and they're gonna exit on a path. They don't just aimlessly swim out, and that's the thing. What happens is they'll follow routes, and those routes are gonna be structure lines, and that's what we're fishing here. Is we're fishing an area that's actually a highway that they're gonna follow out. When they get to the end of it, here's what happens from there. Then they'll head across that basin stuff out to your mid-lake stuff. You know, a lot of times we feel like, oh man, the spawn ends, they're no longer on the shoreline. We gotta go straight out to that deep water. But the thing is that if you follow these paths out, that's where you're gonna find the fish because they're gonna work a progression all the way out. Fire right back out there. There's one. Got him. This is one of the coolest ways to fish. I'm gonna show you what we're using when I get this fish because it is about as simple as it gets. There's a lot of boats around me this morning. Not a lot, but I mean when I say a lot, I mean there's more boats around me than you would expect on a rainy day. This body of water I'm on's got a tournament coming up on it in the next couple days. There's a lot of guys running around pre-fishing. I'm watching them fish and they're all fishing a lot slower than we are. They're Lindy rigging and they're fishing slow. And let me tell you, you're gonna catch some fish doing that. But one of the things that's happening right now is these fish are hitting that aggressive point where they're really wound up. And when they get really wound up like they are right now, you wanna fish a little more aggressive. And you wouldn't think of how I'm fishing being really aggressive, but I'm gonna show it to you because we are fishing really aggressive to get these fish. This one is a better fish. This is a female coming out of there, and it just goes to show you that there's a little bit of everything in these spots. Awesome fish. Ooh, popped right out. Look at that. Perfect. Look at this. That's awesome. What a beautiful fish. That is cool. Spawned out female, a little bit skinny, but pretty. Man, I'll tell you, this time of the year is so cool because fish like that one right there, when they come railing out, they're aggressive, they want to eat. So here's what I'm using. This isn't what you think of when you think aggressive, but this is pretty aggressive the way I'm fishing. I'm fishing an 1/8 ounce Lindy live bait jig. But here's the trick. What I'm doing is I'm hooking a shiner minnow up and I'm keeping the shiner minnow alive. I'm not killing him, I'm not reaching back through his back. What I'm doing is I'm just coming up right through both of his lips. Simple as that, okay? And then I'm just chucking it back there. And I'm cruising. That's all I'm doing right there. I'm chucking it way back there and I'm flying. And the reason I'm doing this, when I say flying, I'm going 0.7 to 1.0, and I'm trucking right along. I'm making them chase. If I can make them chase, because remember, they're in an aggressive mode right now. They're willing to chase. So when they see that bait come by, they'll chase it and run it down. When you're looking for scattered fish that are all exiting these spawning areas and they're on the move, they're not schooled up yet, this is a great way to fish because you not only cover ground, but you're putting a bait down there that they want to eat. It's a, you know, you put that jig head down there with that big shiner, and man, I'll tell you what, they'll run it down and they'll attack it, and most of the time they'll hook themselves. I mean, it's a pretty simple deal. There he is. Eat it. There he goes. You just feel him turn the other way. He was just kind of dragging with me, and all of a sudden you could just kind of feel him turn. I think that's a pretty good one. Yeah, this one feels like a pretty doggone good fish. Might have to actually turn the boat here. I don't know that this is kind of, I don't know. You know, it's so hard to tell, but it feels like a pretty good fish. It might be a deal where I just got to go where this fish wants me to go versus making the decision. This fish slammed it though. You could see him kind of hanging. He grabbed it and it was a hard boom. And after that hard whack, then he just hung on to it. And all of a sudden I could feel him turn. Yeah, this is a big fish. Yeah, this is a big fish going the other way right now. We'll get this boat swung a little bit. We had that little spit of rain come through. I just slid over to the other side of the point. To be honest with you, a lot of what I was trying to do there was just get away from some of the pressure that had started over there. We had a few boats show up, and I just wanted to get away from them because they were just pressuring these fish. We'll see if we can. I'm actually going to end up spinning this boat all the way around dealing with this fish. Sometimes it's easier when nobody's around to just turn your boat and get out of the, versus trying to steer a fish. I don't like trying to steer a fish if I can help it. Ooh, big walleye, big walleye, big fish, big post-spawn female. Look at this one, giant, giant eye. Wow, got herself unhooked right when it hit the net. Look at this fish. This is a giant. Look at that big fish. Wow, that is a giant eye. This is what's so cool about this though. All I've done is come to the other side of this point, and this fish, this is no different than those small males. These fish are just working their way out. Look at that. What a giant eye. Wow, that is so cool. I'm gonna get this fish back in the water. And then I wanna talk about this location a little bit. Give you a little bit more because this exists on most lakes. Look at that, what a giant fish. That is a monster eye. All right, big girl. You get out of here. There she goes. Whew. That's cool. It's cool watching big fish swim away. Let me tell you a little bit more about what I'm doing here as far as location goes. All I'm doing is looking for areas where these fish would have spawned, okay? So you're looking for those sand areas, you're looking for that gravel stuff. If you find that, here's the deal. Those fish have got to find a route out. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm trying to find those sand gravel areas where I know they spawned, and if there's a point that comes out off a shore anywhere, here's what you get. You've got a natural progression out. And here's the thing, once they get out here, they'll get a little bit hung up on a lot of this stuff. And just like that fish there, that big fish, it's so often that people think that that big fish just heads for mid-lake structure right after the spawn. That's not true. That big fish got hung up out here on the tip of this point, and then you've still got more and more and more fish filtering out. You've got small males, you got big females. That's cool. Sometimes it makes sense to just do what I'm doing. See, I'm just playing tug of war with them, and then we'll just pull forward on them, and we got them hooked. I mean, sometimes it's that easy. If you set the hook on them big time, a lot of times what's happened is they're biting up on the back end of that shiner. So what I'll do is just play that tug of war because them fish will keep coming up on it if you're willing to do that. This one feels good too. Get that net up here, get ready to go. We're close. He's right here, but Yeah, winds come up just a little bit. It's making everything just a little bit tougher. Boat control's just a little harder. I mean, it's not like it's tough, but just making it a little harder to steer fish. Another good one. Another good one though. Look at that one. Another great eye. Look where I'm hooked with this fish. When I'm talking about that tug of war deal, look at that. Hooked right in that front lip. Great way to wrap up a day. Man, I'll tell you what, this is some easy fishing. There's been a lot of guys drive right by me today, and there's been a lot of guys trying to fish deeper stuff, but staying right on these transition lines, right on the, you know, once you find that depth, 16, 17, 18, 19 feet today, it's been really key in just following it out of the spawning grounds. Fish like that, they're traveling it. We're going right over the top of them with the boat and just catching them one after another.